Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen, and for this video I wanted to do an if-then recommendation video. So how this works is I picked out 5 TV shows that if you like these TV shows, then you should like this book or series. And this is actually going to be a 2-part video. This month I'm doing if-then for TV shows, and next month I plan to do if-then for movies. So, jumping into 5 TV shows that if you like these TV shows, you should like these books. Or you could look at this vice versa if you are aware of these books but not the TV shows. So the first one I have is Peaky Blinders. And this is a little bit of an older show, but it is currently available on Netflix. And this show is a drama that is inspired by a real-life urban street gang based in Birmingham, England at the end of the 19th century after the First World War, that is led by their boss, Tommy Shelby, a very tough and rough character. And I think if you like this show, Peaky Blinders, then you would also like the Six of Crows Duology by Leigh Bardugo. Six of Crows is a fantasy series, unlike Peaky Blinders, which is very much based in reality. But Six of Crows is kind of inspired by old Amsterdam. The time period is not like an exact specific one, but kind of back in the day. And it is about this gang of 6 kids who are a part of a larger gang, but they form this sort of core group, and they also have this sort of tough and rough leader in Kaz Brecker. And definitely just the grittiness of the city and this gang that are fighting in the streets of this large city that is oftentimes quite corrupt definitely has the same feel to it. And definitely the 2 leaders are very similar. They're very cunning and willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want, but also to protect their gang. So yeah, if you are familiar with and enjoy the show Peaky Blinders, I think you would very much enjoy the Six of Crows duology, or in reverse, if you are familiar with and enjoy the Six of Crows duology, you may want to give Peaky Blinders a try on Netflix. The next show that I have is Once Upon a Time. This is also an older show that ran on ABC. This show is kind of about all of the classic fairy tales that we know so well, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, but a curse has been laid upon them, and all these characters that we know and love have been sent to a world without magic, our world. And none of them know who they are, and they are trapped here, and they are unknowingly waiting for the person who will break the curse. So this might be a little obvious to some of you out there, but of course my recommendation if you enjoy Once Upon a Time is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. There are 4 books in the series: Cinder, which is of course Cinderella, Scarlet, which is Red Riding Hood, Cress, which is Rapunzel, and Winter, which is Snow White. And this one takes place in the future and is kind of more of a sci-fi twist on the fairy tales. And though the books each focus on a different fairy tale heroine, the books do build on themselves with a continuing storyline. And much in the same way as Once Upon a Time, kind of twist the stories and make them new and exciting, but completely identifiable. So definitely, if you enjoy a nice fairy tale twist, you would enjoy either Once Upon a Time or The Lunar Chronicles. Next, I actually have a reality show, and that is the reality competition show Project Runway. I'm not much of a reality show person, but I do love Project Runway, and that is partially because I'm a fan of fashion, and if you are also a fan of fashion and enjoy Project Runway, I believe that you would enjoy The Fashion Committee by Susan Juby. This book is about a sort of elite high school that every year puts on a competition so that potential students can win a scholarship to the school, and every year they pick a different department to put on the competition. It is an art school, and so each of these departments are art departments, and the year in which the book takes place, they are putting on a competition for the fashion school, the design school. And so we follow two main characters, John Thomas Smith, who is a metal worker and so is not very thrilled by the prospect of getting into the design school, but so passionately wants to attend this school that he decides to put in for the competition anyways, with plans to just switch to metalworking afterwards. And then the other character is Charlie Dean, and she has always wanted to be a fashion designer. It is her deepest desire since childhood, and so she is extremely excited that the competition this year is for the fashion department. And definitely these kids display all the passion that you see in the designers on Project Runway. Next, I have Atypical. This is a currently running show. There are, I believe, 3 seasons, and season 4 is set to be the final season, which will premiere next year on Netflix. And it is a show about a teenage boy with autism, and the premise at the beginning of the show is that he feels that he is ready to have his first girlfriend. And as the show goes on, it sort of just follows him going through life's ups and downs, completing high school and trying to get into college, and navigating that situation with his friends and family. And he has a sister that he doesn't really get along with, but that in the end is very protective of him, a mother who is sometimes overprotective, and a dad who doesn't always know how to best handle our main character's autism, and also a best friend who is just a really hilarious character who ends up being deeper than you would think. And it's really just a super feel-good sitcom, a real joy to watch, and I think that anyone who enjoyed Atypical would also enjoy Wonder by RJ Palacio. Wonder also just has this really heartwarming, joyful energy to it that Atypical has. It is about a young boy, younger than our main character in Atypical. He's, I believe, more like 4th or 5th grade, and he has facial deformities, and he is attending school for the first time ever. And so he is obviously quite concerned about the potential of bullying, and because he has not gone to a public school before, he's generally just nervous about meeting new people. But just like in Atypical, he's got really great supportive parents and an older sister who's also very protective. And again, they both just definitely have this heartwarming, joyful energy to them. The final if-then that I have is, if you like The Boys, then you would like Zeros by Scott Westerfeld. Now these two are definitely very different tonally. The Boys is extremely rated R, just a warning if you haven't seen it and are interested in it. If you've read Zeros, it's definitely much more rated R than Zeros is, as Zeros is YA. But I think the connecting thread here is just a really interesting take on superheroes. So The Boys, which is available on Amazon Prime, is a show about superheroes, but they're set up very much in a Hollywood sort of a way. It is kind of a commentary on Hollywood, in that the superheroes all have agents and they are teamed up by agents based on what's going to sell to the public, and they're basically celebrities. And as a result, they're not really superheroes. They have superpowers and they pretend to be heroes, but most of them are really morally bankrupt and do pretty terrible things. And so I think if you like looking at interesting takes on superheroes and you enjoyed The Boys, you would also enjoy the interesting take on superheroes that Zeros has. Zeros follows 6 teenagers with really unique superpowers that are not just the run-of-the-mill super strength or flying. And kind of another connecting factor is that the superpowers are kind of more than meets the eye on the surface, because the powers are all also kind of curses for the characters. And kind of the best example of this is the character Anonymous. His power is that nobody notices him and nobody remembers him if he's in a group of more than like 6 people. So very convenient for if you want to be sneaky, or just generally if you don't want people to notice you, you can find out information without people noticing that you're even there, and, you know, do all sorts of things with that kind of a power. But the drawback is that he cannot turn his power off. And so if he's in a large crowd, he could easily get run down and nobody would notice. Or if he's sick and has to go to the hospital, he can't really get the care that he needs because the doctors forget about him. And so all of the characters have these sort of darker drawbacks to their powers. But unlike the boys, our characters in Zeros are good characters who are trying to be heroes, but they're just teenagers, and in this world, superheroes at large don't really exist. They believe that they are the only 6 that exist, and they're, again, just teenagers, so they're kind of having bumbling efforts at being superheroes. And though they don't mean to, sometimes, much like the boys, they are causing more harm than good. So yeah, if you enjoy The Boys on Amazon Prime, I think you would also enjoy another interesting take on superheroes in Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Biancotti. And this is a trilogy. So these were some book recommendation based on TV shows. If you enjoy The Boys on Amazon Prime, you might enjoy Zeros. If you enjoy Atypical on Netflix, you may enjoy Wonder. If you enjoy Project Runway, you might enjoy The Fashion Committee. If you enjoy the ABC show Once Upon a Time, you may enjoy The Lunar Chronicles. And if you enjoy Peaky Blinders, you may enjoy the 6 of Crows duology. And next month I plan to do another 5 if-then recommendations, but this time based on movies. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.